15 interesting facts about Bolivia. Number 1. Bolivia is officially named the plurinational state of Bolivia, reflecting its diverse ethnic and cultural makeup. Number 2. Bolivia is one of 2 landlocked countries in South America, the other being Paraguay. It is bordered by Brazil to the north and east, Paraguay to the southeast, Argentina to the south, Chile to the southwest, and Peru to the west. Number 3. Bolivia has 2 capitals. The constitutional capital is Sucre, while the administrative capital and seat of government is La Paz. Sucre is the legal capital of Bolivia and the seat of the judiciary. It is located in the southern highlands of Bolivia, at an altitude of 2,800 meters, 9,200 feet. Sucre is a beautiful city with a well-preserved colonial center. It is also known as the White City, because of its many whitewashed buildings. La Paz is the administrative capital of Bolivia and the seat of the government. It is located in the western highlands of Bolivia, at an altitude of 3,600 meters, 11,800 feet. La Paz is a bustling city with a population of over 2 million people. It is also a major tourist destination, known for its stunning views of the surrounding mountains. The reason why Bolivia has 2 capitals is a long and complicated story. It dates back to the early days of the Bolivian Republic, when there was a dispute between the 2 cities over which one should be the capital. The dispute was eventually resolved by a compromise, with Sucre being declared the constitutional capital and La Paz being declared the administrative capital. The issue of Bolivia's 2 capitals is still a source of debate today. Some people believe that Bolivia should have a single capital, while others believe that the current system is working well. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to change the system is up to the Bolivian people. Number 4. Bolivia is home to the world's largest salt flats, the Salar de Uyuni. It is the largest salt flat in the world, covering an area of over 10,500 square kilometers. It is also the world's highest salt flat, at an altitude of 3,650 meters above sea level. The salt flats are incredibly flat, with an average elevation difference of only 2 centimeters. When the salt flats are covered in water after a rain, they create a mirror-like surface that reflects the sky and surrounding landscape. This effect is known as the mirror of heaven. The salt flats are home to a variety of wildlife, including flamingos, vicunias, and giant cacti. The salt flats are also a major source of lithium, a mineral that is used in batteries and other electronic devices. The Salar de Uyuni is a truly unique and amazing place. It is a must-visit destination for anyone interested in natural wonders. Here are some other interesting facts about the Salar de Uyuni. It is estimated that there are over 10 billion tons of salt in the Salar de Uyuni. The salt flats are also home to a number of abandoned mines, which provide a glimpse into the region's history. The Salar de Uyuni is a popular tourist destination, and there are a number of tours available that take visitors to explore the salt flats and surrounding area. The Salar de Uyuni is also used for scientific research, and it has been used to calibrate satellite sensors. Number 5. Bolivia is also home to the world's highest lake, Lake Titicaca. The lake straddles the border between Bolivia and Peru and is located at an altitude of 3,812 meters, 12,507 feet. Number 6. Bolivia is a multi-ethnic country, with a population that is made up of over 30 indigenous groups. The largest indigenous groups are the Quechua, Aymara, and Guarani. The indigenous peoples of Bolivia have a long and rich history in the region. The earliest inhabitants of Bolivia were the Aymara, who arrived in the area around 10,000 years ago. The Quechua people arrived later, around 2,000 years ago. These 2 groups are the largest indigenous groups in Bolivia today. In addition to the Aymara and Quechua, there are over 30 other indigenous groups in Bolivia. These groups speak a variety of languages and have their own unique cultures. Some of the other major indigenous groups in Bolivia include the Guarani, the Tucana, and the Macetan. The indigenous peoples of Bolivia have always lived in the region. They did not migrate from other countries. However, there has been some migration within Bolivia over time. For example, The Aymara people have migrated from the highlands to the lowlands in search of work. The indigenous peoples of Bolivia have made significant contributions to the country's culture and economy. They are the majority of the population and they play an important role in agriculture, mining, and tourism. The government of Bolivia has recognized the importance of the indigenous peoples and has taken steps to protect their rights. Here are some of the major indigenous groups in Bolivia. Aymara. The Aymara are the largest indigenous group in Bolivia, making up about 30% of the population. They live in the highlands of Bolivia and speak the Aymara language. Quechua. The Quechua are the second largest indigenous group in Bolivia, making up about 25% of the population. They live in the highlands and the lowlands of Bolivia and speak the Quechua language. Guarani. The Guarani are the third largest indigenous group in Bolivia, making up about 10% of the population. They live in the eastern lowlands of Bolivia and speak the Guarani language. Tucana. The Tucana are an indigenous group that lives in the Amazon rainforest of Bolivia. They speak the Tucana language. Macetan. The Macetan are an indigenous group that lives in the Amazon rainforest of Bolivia. They speak the Macetan language. These are just a few of the many indigenous groups that live in Bolivia. The indigenous peoples of Bolivia are a vital part of the country's culture and economy. They have made significant contributions to the country and they deserve to be respected and protected. Number 7. Bolivia is multilingual country with 37 official languages. They are Aymara, Arauna, Bor, Bezero, Chiquitano, Canacana, Cayubaba, Caragua, Chimorn, Chiquitano, Guarani, Garayu, Atonama, Kaingang, Kalawaya, Caranca, Leco, Machinery, Mapuche, Mojeno Ignaciano, Mojeno Trinitario, Moray, Mozaten, Nivaclay, Pacawara, Puquina, Quechua, Siriono, Tucanan, Tapiete, Tucana, Uru Chipaya, Weenhayek, Uracare. The similarity between the official languages of Bolivia varies greatly. Some of the languages, such as Aymara and Quechua, are closely related and mutually intelligible. Others, such as Garayu and Tapiete, are more distantly related and have very different grammars and vocabularies. The official languages of Bolivia are used in different ways. Spanish is the most widely spoken language and is the language of government, education, and business. The other official languages are used more in local communities and for cultural purposes. The recognition of 37 official languages in Bolivia is a reflection of the country's diverse cultural heritage. The government's commitment to multilingualism is seen as a way to promote social inclusion and to protect the rights of indigenous peoples. The majority of the official languages use the Latin alphabet, which is also used by Spanish. However, there are a few exceptions. The following languages use their own unique alphabets. Guarani. This language uses a modified version of the Latin alphabet with additional symbols. Uru Chipaya. This language uses a syllabary with 20 symbols. Uracare. This language uses a logographic system with over 200 symbols. The other official languages of Bolivia use the Latin alphabet, but they may have different spelling conventions from Spanish. For example, the Aymara language uses the letter Q to represent the sound K, while Spanish uses the letter C. The use of different alphabets can make it difficult to learn and use multiple languages in Bolivia. However, the government is working to promote the use of the Latin alphabet for all official languages, in order to facilitate communication and education. Here are a few examples. Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hello, how are you? Aymara. Jalala Bolivia. Long live Bolivia. Quechua. Sumij Corsi. Good health. Guarani. Arandu Che Apaitua. I love my people. Uru Chipaya. Inakana. Let's go. Uracare. Jachari. Thank you. Number 8. Bolivia is a poor country, with a GDP per capita of $3,200. However, the country has made significant progress in recent years in terms of economic growth, poverty reduction, and social development. This progress has been attributed to a number of factors, including High commodity prices. Bolivia is a major producer of natural gas, minerals, and soybeans. The high prices of these commodities in the early 2000s boosted the Bolivian economy. Government policies. The government of Evo Morales implemented a number of policies aimed at reducing poverty and inequality, such as increasing social spending, expanding access to education and healthcare, and redistributing land. Foreign investment. Foreign investment has also played a role in Bolivia's economic growth. The government has created a favorable investment climate by reducing taxes and regulations. In particular, the following are some of the key policies that have contributed to Bolivia's economic growth. Nationalization of natural resources. In 2006, the government nationalized the country's oil and gas industry. This led to increased government revenue, which was used to fund social programs and infrastructure projects. Poverty reduction programs. The government has implemented a number of programs aimed at reducing poverty, such as conditional cash transfer programs and food security programs. These programs have helped to reduce the poverty rate from 38% in 2006 to 18% in 2019. Investment in education and healthcare. The government has increased investment in education and healthcare. This has led to improvements in literacy rates and life expectancy. Land reform. The government has redistributed land to landless peasants. This has helped to reduce inequality and poverty. Bolivia's economic growth has been impressive, but there are still challenges that the country faces. These challenges include high levels of inequality. Despite the progress made in reducing poverty, Bolivia still has high levels of inequality. The richest 10% of the population controls more than 40% of the country's wealth. High levels of poverty. While the poverty rate has declined in recent years, it is still high, especially in rural areas. Dependence on natural resources. Bolivia is heavily dependent on natural resources, which makes the economy vulnerable to fluctuations in commodity prices. Despite these challenges, Bolivia is on the right track to continued economic growth and development. The government has a strong commitment to social justice and economic equality, and it is taking steps to address the challenges that the country faces. Number 9. Bolivia is home to a variety of natural wonders, including the Amazon rainforest, the Andes Mountains, and the salt flats of Uyuni. Number 10. Bolivia is a popular tourist destination, especially for those interested in hiking, trekking, and exploring the country's unique culture and history. Number 11. Bolivia is also a popular destination for those who are interested in volunteering or doing social work. Number 12. Bolivia is a member of the United Nations, the Organization of American States, and the Andean Community. Number 13. Bolivia's currency is the Bolivian Boliviano. Number 14. Salteñas are considered to be the national dish of Bolivia. They are a type of baked empanada filled with a savory stew of beef, chicken, potatoes, vegetables, hard-boiled eggs, raisins, and spices. The filling is typically seasoned with a sweet and slightly spicy sauce. Salteñas are so juicy that they can be thought of as a type of stew served inside a pastry. Number 15. The national drink of Bolivia is Singani. It is a distilled spirit made from white muscat of Alexandria grapes. Only produced in the high valleys of Bolivia, it is the country's national distilled spirit and considered part of its cultural patrimony. Singani has been produced since the 16th century, shortly after the Spanish arrived in South America. It was first distilled by monastic orders who, needing sacramental wine, found it expedient to also distill. Most sources say the name Singani derives from a pre-Columbian village of that name near the mission that first distilled the liquor. Singani is typically clear and has a smooth, fruity flavor. It is often drunk neat or on the rocks, but it can also be used in cocktails. Singani is a popular drink in Bolivia and is also exported to other countries. I hope you find these facts interesting. If you do, please share, comment, like and subscribe. Thanks.